So welcome back to the very first episode of 2017, and it's the Game Hype episode. All the exciting games coming out in early 2017, and I thought to myself, is there really that many games? And I started looking at the list and I'm like, oh my god, this is insane. I'm also, at the end of the episode, going to talk about a couple of movies that I'm really looking forward to that are really big deals of this year. So let's start at the beginning with Sony bringing out Horizon Zero Dawn, and this is an exciting looking game. It really is. The graphics look stupendous, the gameplay looks engaging, the world, the biomechanical monsters in it, all the things that you can do, looks really, really fun. And I think back in the day, people would have said, this is a Zelda killer. They used to say things like that back in the day all the time. Like they said Grandia was going to be a Final Fantasy VII killer. I don't know why they had to do that for them to announce a game. They had to say it had to beat another game to be good. But I think this game stands on its own. I've been following it for so long now, and I think it's going to perform incredibly well on the Pro as well, and in high def, like, 4K, it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. So many great RPGs in 2017. My most hyped one, there's a few I'm really hyped for. This is number one up there. It's Persona 5, and let me say, thank God it got pushed back, because February, March are crazy months, and it was originally going to come out on Valentine's Day, which would have been a very sweet thing. But it has been pushed back to April now. I'm happy about that, because there's so much coming in March. I'm going to talk about all the games coming in March as well, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, thank God, that's got pushed back a little bit. But it just looks so amazing. Like, I've done trailer reactions, I talked about everything I can about Persona 5. I have friends of mine, X-Core X, who's finished Persona 5, and, no spoilers, but he said it's fantastic and it's better than Persona 4. And that's a great thing to hear, because I love Persona 4. Me and Kim love Persona 4, but the funny thing is, it was the first thing where me and Kim had an argument about Persona 5 the other night. It was really funny, actually. I said, oh, I can't wait to play all the way through that game. I'm talking about it. And she's like, yeah, well, as soon as you're done, I'm going to play through it. I'm like, well, can't we play through it together? And she's like, no, I want to play it on my own. I want to take it all in as well. And that's how exciting this game is in this house. Nier Automata, I played the demo during the Christmas break and I was blown away. First of all, the demo's quite long. I recommend downloading it just to give it a shot, because it's obviously a free demo. Try it out, see if you like it. I think it has a lot of potential in there. I liked a lot of the combos you could do. I liked running around in the world. It kind of reminded me of a game that we would get on the PlayStation 2. For say back in the day, you don't see games released like this by Square Enix anymore, and it's a game I'm 100% gonna back because it's different. It's back to the old, action adventure category in 3D with a bit of a budget that we don't really see as much anymore. So very cool, very hyped for that. Mass Effect Andromeda is high on my list as well. I really want to play the game and see what they really have to offer with it. I can't really make up my mind now. Mass Effect has been an unusual series for me. I've liked little bits of it, I've disliked other bits of it. It's been all over the place, but generally I like the world setting and I like the characters. So I'm really expecting, I'm kind of hyped up. I'm hoping that Andromeda will really deliver. Now here's a game that we haven't heard about in a while. This was a game that was supposed to come out last year, and it got bumped back, and now it's 2017. I still don't know an exact date, but Scalebound for the Xbox One, the game by Platinum, one of my favorite developers. I cannot wait to see this game in motion, because it's been in development for so long, and I've had friends of mine who have worked on the game. They can't say too much about it, and I didn't ask them too much about it because they can't talk too much about it, but I'm so looking forward to this game. I really think it has a lot to offer in the way of, riding gigantic dragons and fighting so many monsters and doing it multiplayer. Multiplayer is the bit that screwed me up the most, and so I want to see a big unveil of Scalebound and see really what the game has to offer. Another game I almost forgot to mention is Resident Evil 7, and I played the game in VR. I am so looking forward to it. To be honest with you, playing a game in first person in VR, I thought it was going to make me sick. Some games make me a little bit but playing it, the frame rate was so smooth, the environments were small enough that I didn't feel the entire motion blur going around, and I didn't feel nauseous by it. I felt very in the world. I felt a little 2 in the world. So when I was playing the demo and I went down to the basement, it scared the bejeebus out of me. It scared the living crap out of me. It was so awesome. I've never been as afraid as I was playing that in VR. I can honestly say of all the games, like Dead Space and the original Resident Evils, they've had their moments. I've had my moments where I went rah, but Resident Evil 7 in VR, and you can play it, regular way as well. It blew my mind. It was terrifying. Even Kim said she felt bad for me watching me play it, but so hyped for it. Now, the other game, I said Persona was one of my most hyped RPGs of the year. There's another RPG that I'm super hyped for, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we get a release date. I'm believing that we will, because they spend so much money on the development of Dragon Quest XI. There's a lot going on in this game, and they've developed it for so many platforms. We're getting it for PS4, we're getting it for the Switch. It was one of the first games mentioned that was coming out for the Switch, and that was one of the most exciting things for me. I'm like, oh, awesome. And here's the unusual thing about it. It's like, okay, so we're getting a PS4 game in full 3D, gorgeous looking, graphics, perfect. And then we get the Switch version, which will be, a console, you'll be able to play it on TV, and then you can take it off and take it with you and play it portably. So that's the first time that's happened with a Dragon Quest game that way. And then here's the bit that's really unusual. There's the 3DS version, which is the same game, but there's 2 different versions of it. It's kind of a 3DS looking game and a 2D old school Dragon Quest version. The dilemma is, what version do you play? What version do you play? It's so crazy, the 3DS versions to the Switch versions, because they do the same thing. They're both portable, but doing different things. And wow, with so many platforms and so many different ways of playing games now, it's amazing that there's so many different versions of this game. And I'm going to wait for a little bit more information to get released and how all this is going to play out. Now, last but certainly not least, the Nintendo Switch is getting released in March. And in about a week or so's time now, we're going to find out what this machine has to offer in the way of a launch lineup. We're getting to that point. We're going to see a new Mario game. Are we going to get Zelda? Will it release, with the machine, or will it be pushed back? There's been rumors of that. I really hope it comes out at launch. That would be fantastic. Breath of the Wild looks stupendous. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I can't wait to explore this world, and hopefully that's sooner than later. And in this new Mario game, we don't know anything about it, and I can't wait till they all unveil, all of the information on it, and all the other launch games. I don't know what else they're releasing. It's going to be quite the list. It's going to be quite exciting. They're going to show games that are coming out. Who knows? Maybe they'll show a Metroid game. Maybe, the possibilities are endless. And I think that's why there's some excitement around the Switch, is because there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot that Nintendo's going to show. It's all about the games. That's what it's all about. My God, that Mario game, though, looks pretty cool. Now, I'm going to end this episode talking about a couple of movies that I'm very excited for and very nervous about. They both have this effect on me, which I find fascinating. And I'll just talk about the first one, Blade Runner, the brand new Blade Runner. I am terrified of this movie because Blade Runner is this shining gem from 1982. It's a beautiful standalone movie. And all these years later, they're coming back to it, and I love the movie so much that I'm so terrified. I really hope they do the original justice. I hope they don't ruin the franchise in that moment, That's the thing I'm most concerned about. I want to walk in and love it, but it's so scary, isn't it? Like when they take a movie that you really love, like, Predator or, like RoboCop, and they start remaking them, or Total Recall, and you're like, ah! And it's Ridley Scott in charge, so I feel okay about it, but I was okay about Prometheus as well. So Prometheus was a mixed bag for me, per se. Maybe Convent, when that comes out, will cement all of that together a little bit better. I think it should. But anyways, moving on. Star Wars Episode 8. Now, I've said, this is a crazy thing to say, Episode 8, for me personally, I'm telling this for me personally, will make or break my love for Star Wars. It really will. I will always love Star Wars, and let's get that out of the way. I'm a huge, crazy Star Wars guy. No idea. But it will because, we had the original trilogy, which is just a religious lore of love. We all love it so much. And then we got the prequels that, for me, again, personally, I wasn't a huge fan of so much. I liked little bits of them here and there, but overall, no. And then episode 7 was released, and I remember the build-up to episode 7 was so monumental. I was so terrified going into that movie. And it delivered. It was good. It was a bit of a reboot, a little bit more of a reboot than I wanted, but I liked the movie overall. I loved the characters. I thought they did a fantastic job of rebooting the entire series and getting it ready, for the the next cast and handing over the torches and all that. Perfect for that. So that's why I'm so nervous about episode 8. Episode 8 scares me because this has to be a new movie. It can't they can have X-Wings and TIE Fighters and all that kinds of, fan service in there. But it has to be an original story. And they have to do brand new things. Luke Skywalker is going to be, having an original story. Like, what is his story? What is he been doing? What's really going on? What is the first Jedi Temple? I'm just hoping it's really dark and cool, and I'm scared because I love it so much. Imagine they hand over the torch and then this movie is just a complete load of crap. Could you imagine? I don't want to imagine. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm so nervous. I'm more nervous about episode 8 than I was about 7. Because if episode 8 is great, oh my god, that's cements. Even if episode 9 sucks, it doesn't matter. In the sense that we got past that hump, as I call it. And I'm really hoping episode 8 is a phenomenal movie and a lot of fun. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure from Rian Johnson. And I went back and I was watching Looper the other day, and I love Looper. I think it's a really interesting movie, but I'm thinking, holy cow, this guy's going to do Star Wars Episode 8? Oh. And the thing is, there's a cut of the movie right now. There's an entire cut of the movie that exists. They're watching. They're watching. All the effects are not done. But is it working? Is it not working? What are they changing? What are they going to reshoot? It's going to be exciting finding out. And I can't wait to see the first trailers of Episode 8. It's going to be unbelievable. So, anyways, guys, want to end with a bit of movie hype as well. Alien Covenant. I'm looking forward to that movie. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope they do some brand new things in that movie for sure. So, anyways, guys, until next time.